All right, there we go. So the first live stream on my channel that I'm launching, so a bit nervous, still trying to work out the technical difficulties at streaming and all the software. So anyways, today we're gonna make kind of a staple in our household is just a very simple lentil soup. It's whole food, plant-based, it's vegan. Normally make this weekly, and this is what we eat. So I'm gonna go through with that. We have some kale and collards from the garden outside, which we'll do more videos on that at some point. We got mushrooms, had a pepper from the garden that I pulled out, carrots, celery, onion. The base for any soup obviously is going to be carrots, celery, and onion. The lentils, I have some chickpeas or garbanzos as well that we're going to put in. We have a potato. I just have it soaking in water so it doesn't turn brown. What else do we have? And then we have spices. So we have garlic, paprika, Italian seasoning, turmeric, and curry. So those will all go in. The great thing about these kind of vegetables, also tomato sauce as well. Great thing about these soups is, especially a vegetable one, and you're cooking plant-based vegan, it's whatever you have on hand you can put in. There's no right or wrong amounts really that you can screw this up with. So with that being said, let's get to it. So I'm going to put my onions and let's go from here. I'm just going to chop those up, put those in the compost. So this onion was already kind of prepped already, so it's a little irregular shape. It's alright. Go here, and we're just going to do some chunks. And just a rough chop. Rough chop on these guys. And we're going to go with 2 onions. Onions are very good for you as well. It's actually better if you just cut these up really fine and then leave them for 45 minutes or so. They actually build up the enzymes that help do all the protection. And they're starting to burn my eyes, so that means it's working. So we'll just peel these guys and go from there. Ooh, babies are strong. I am tearing up. So I'm just going to go right in my pot here. There's those. And here's our bunches of celery. Yeah, wow, I am tearing up. We're just going to chop, rough chop. All those included. And there's about 5 or 6 ribs of celery here. Again, the great thing is you don't have to be fully exact on this stuff. And just right in. And let me get my towel. Alright, what else we got? We got here the carrots. So I'm going to just split here. And we're just going to do a rough chop on those. Actually, yeah, I'm tearing up like I'm crying. Alright, so we'll just do a chop. Make sure you have a sharp knife. And we're going to go down there. Okay. Chop, chop. Alright, one more. So there's 3 carrots here. Be careful there. Alright. Carrots done. We'll go carrots in. That's there. Alright, we'll do this little Anaheim chili. Just a rough chop. Compost. So we have mushrooms here. And I'll just do a little chop on them. Now this recipe is kind of based on Dr. Furman. So Dr. Furman, if you don't know, is a plant-based doctor, very famous in that world, and he has a term called G-bombs, which he wants you to eat every day. So G-bombs is greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. So you should have those at every meal. Onions cooked, beans cooked, but then greens, berries, nuts and seeds. So this kind of soup is kind of a play on that. It has the mushrooms, we have greens with the kale and collards. Yeah, so what else here? We got our potatoes. So let me set up that potato. You can use any potato for this, red, yellow, whatever you have on hand, doesn't matter. And I like to just do little chunks, just to give it a little bit of body to the soup. And we'll just do a chop. Great thing is you just kind of prep everything and just dump everything in, and then you're just going to cook it and let it go. Very simple and easy. And I'm not going to put any oil or salt in this. I'm going to use this canned tomato sauce, but sometimes I have marinara left over, which obviously has some oil and salt, and I'll put that in. It gives it just kind of a little sweetness for the soup. Just kind of goes well. I have some tomatoes from the garden that I'm going to dice up in there as well. So just a rough chop on these guys is fine. So tomatoes actually have lycopene, and lycopene is another great anti-cancer compound in those vegetables, and it actually gets stronger when you cook it. The lycopene's more effective, kind of like the vitamin A in carrots, same sort of deal. Some things when they're cooked, they're healthier. Mushrooms are the same thing. So those compounds and micronutrients and everything that veggies have, a lot of the times when they're cooked, they're better. Some things kind of degrade, like broccoli, or if you over steam that, or some things go down a bit, but it's still plants, no big deal. Vegetables, tomatoes are fruit. I'll put a couple more in here. And again, just rough chop on everything is fine. What else? And I got these kale, the collards here. So the collards are from the garden. So I'm just going to roll them up. And we're just going to do called a chiffonade here, where you just kind of thinly cut the greens. I'm not really worried about the stalk. You could take them off and peel it, but I'm going to try to make this as easy and quick as possible. Just dump them in. I have some kale, same thing. People, take it off the stalks, but I don't really care. It's just fiber. It's going to cook down. It doesn't really matter to me. And again, just kind of a rough chop. Ooh, still tearing up. All right, so that in. I'm gonna go in with that. And then here's our can of tomato sauce. I'll wait a couple minutes to put that in. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the bottom. We'll get this going, and then seasonings. Now I have garlic powder here, so I'll put a little, couple teaspoons. You can season however aggressive you like. That's what's great about this. Paprika, I'll put in 1.5 tablespoons. Turmeric, same thing. Everything 1 to 2 tablespoons will be fine. We got some Italian seasoning, just to get some herbs in there, some dried herbs, and then curry. Love curry. So kind of this is like curry, lentil, potato soup. This is a staple. We make a big batch of it and eat off that for how many other days. I got some quinoa in the back, so usually we'll put some quinoa and pour that over, and it's a good little meal. So I'm gonna get this on. I have a lentil soup that I've already done. So that's just kind of warming up on the back stove that will plate up later so we don't have to wait 40 minutes for this to cook. Or an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll get some water in. So that's 8 cups of water there, but I just poured a couple tablespoons in just to do kind of a water saute. Trying to go, we don't really need oil. You could put oil, but it's just kind of empty calories. But you could use it. It doesn't matter though if it's olive oil, canola oil, whatever oil, avocado oil. It's all 120 calories per tablespoon. That really doesn't do much for your body. So anyway, I'm going to leave it out. I usually leave it out. I'm not going to put any salt. When I'm eating it or heating up, if I want to put a little salt and hot sauce, that's kind of when I put those seasonings on. So yeah, so we'll go and give that a stir. So that's just going to cook for, I don't know, about 5-7 minutes just to kind of get everything softened up. Then after that, I'll put a little bit of tomato sauce. I'll put the lentils, which is 1 pound. So 1 pound, 2 cups, about 8 cups of water. After I'm cooking it, you know, if it needs a little bit more water, I'll put a little more water. Depends if you like it thinner or a thicker soup. I kind of like in between, so whatever your preference is, you can always add a little bit more water if it gets a little too thick for you. Garbanzos, got those. So 1 can. 1 can of those. And then just clean up here. So hopefully this first stream is not too terrible. I know it'll probably be, but anyway, just got to get to it, start doing them, get better at these. You know, a lot of people ask me, you know, what do you eat on a plant-based diet? And this is one of our staples that I make for the family. So yeah, that'll be that. Alright, so that's kind of the gist of it. I'm going to keep this stream, excuse me, pretty short and sweet. Let me just finish this, get this going. And again, you can let it water saute 5 to 7 minutes, or you can just dump everything in, dump the water, let it simmer, cover it. That's what I'll do here, just to speed that up. And then I'll plate out the soup that I've already made so we can show you what the final outcome will look like. So this one needed a little bit more water. You know, it's hard to kind of tell. Maybe I'll bring it over. So you can kind of see here. See if you can get a shot of there. So that's it. I'm going to add a little bit more water to get towards the top. And just cover it and let it simmer 45 minutes. You know, last 10-15 minutes, if you want it a little bit thicker, you can just pull the lid off and so it'll thicken it up. Just kind of depends on what you like. Alright, so I'm going to put a little more water. Okay. Give it a stir. That's it. Alright, so here's the finished one. So again, I'll just bring that to a boil and then just let it simmer 45 minutes. Then you can take the lid off and reduce, like I said. Clean that for a little bit. Alright, so here's our finished one. Let me get a bowl. So here's quinoa, simple steamed from earlier. I'll just put a couple scoops. Let's see if you guys can see that. Okay, like that. And then the soup here. And that's kind of what it looks like. Very simple. You don't have to put quinoa in. You just do it how it is. That's it. Your lentil, potato, plant-based, whole food plant-based vegan soup. So we'll make that. I usually make this on a Sunday and make that big batch, and we'll eat it breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Doesn't really matter. And yeah, very simple. So with that, I think we're going to end this. Thank you for tuning in. If there's anybody even on there, it doesn't look like it, so that's all good. Got to start somewhere. So, all right, for now, we'll see you on the next one.